the Prodigal Son. In a land between two great rivers, where the earth was rich and the people thrived, lived Chief Afolabi, a man of wealth and wisdom. His compound was a place of abundance, where the crops grew tall and the workers toiled with joy. His daughters, Abike and Iamide, were the pride of the village, known for their humility and hard work. But there was also Adisa, the only son whose heart was restless and whose eyes were filled with dreams of distant lands. Though his family was blessed, Adisa longed for a life beyond the fields, a life where wealth came without the sweat of labor. He would soon ask his father for something that would change the course of their lives forever. One day, with determination in his heart and greed in his eyes, Adisa approached his father. "Father," he said, "give me my share of the inheritance now, so I may seek my own fortune." The room fell silent. Chief Afolabi's heart sank, for he knew the path his son would take. With a heavy heart, Chief Afolabi agreed, dividing his wealth and giving Adisa what he demanded. The daughters, Abike and Iamide, exchanged worried glances, for they too sensed the danger that lay ahead. At the break of dawn, Adisa set out on his journey, carrying the riches his father had worked a lifetime to earn. He did not look back as he walked down the dusty road, leaving behind his family, his home, and the life he once knew. His father and sisters stood at the entrance, their eyes filled with tears, as they watched him disappear into the horizon. They knew not when or if they would see him again. In the city, Adisa's dreams became reality. He surrounded himself with luxury, with feasts, fine clothes, and friends who praised his generosity. But wealth, like the wind, cannot be contained. As he spent lavishly, his riches dwindled, slipping through his fingers like sand. The friends who once crowded around him began to fade, their smiles disappearing with the last of his fortune. Adisa was left alone, in a world that once promised everything but delivered only emptiness. And now penniless and forgotten, Adisa wandered the streets, a shadow of the man he once was. The food he once feasted on was replaced by scraps, and the fine clothes he wore were now rags clinging to his withered frame. He looked up to the sky, tears filling his eyes, remembering his father's warning, a warning he had ignored in his arrogance. With nowhere else to turn, Adisa knew that the only place he could return to was the home he had left behind. With each step, the weight of his regrets grew heavier. The road home was long, and every mile reminded him of his failures. Adisa was no longer the proud young man who had left the village. He was now a man broken by his own choices. As he reached the edge of the village, he hesitated. Fear gripped his heart. What if they turned him away? What if they no longer loved him? But the memory of his father's embrace and his sister's kindness pushed him forward. He would face whatever awaited him. At last, Adisa stood before the gate of his father's compound. The home that once flourished with wealth now bore the scars of hardship. With trembling hands, he knocked on the door, and when it opened, he fell to his knees, unable to hold back his tears. Chief Afolabi, now older and weary, looked down at his son. For a moment, time stood still. Then, with a heart filled with love and forgiveness, he lifted Adisa to his feet and embraced him. "My son," he whispered, "you are home." Abike and Iamide joined them, their hearts softened by their brother's repentance. Together, they began to rebuild what had been lost. The riches of the past were gone, but in their place was something far more valuable: unity, love, and the strength to face life's challenges together. Adisa worked tirelessly, determined to prove his worth and make amends for his mistakes. As the family sat together, sharing a simple meal, there was laughter, there was joy, and above all, there was peace. As the years passed, the story of Adisa's return became a tale told to every child in the village. The elder would gather them around the fire, his voice gentle but firm as he spoke of the importance of family, forgiveness, and learning from one's mistakes. The lesson was clear: true wealth is found not in gold or silver, but in the bonds of family and the power of forgiveness. Learn from your past, but never forget those who will always welcome you home. And so, under the starlit sky, the village found peace in the story of the prodigal son who had come home. As the screen fades to black, the final message appears with the voiceover: true wealth is found in the bonds of family and the power of forgiveness. Learn from your past, but never forget those who will always welcome you home.